All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Everyone, Happy New Year, firstly, and welcome back to the winter quarter sessions of the GSA Forum. I look forward to working with you all in these next quarters, and for this academic year. We're going to go ahead and as people come in, they can still fill out attendance, of course, but since we have quorum, we will go ahead and move on. So we can then move on to the approval of the agenda. Um, but first, I believe Naomi has a modification to make. Yeah. Are there any amendments that need to be made to the agenda? Yes, Naomi.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and strike the resolution calling to reinstate the meetings with student leaders, and instead replace that after the resolutions. The other resolution that we have for today, we will do an executive session for some housing updates.
Okay, great. So, are there any objections to this amendment to the agenda? Okay. If not, then I will go ahead and make that modification currently. We'll go ahead and strike that. And then I will put that under new business, and I'll just say executive session. Okay. Yes. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Oh, the item itself? Okay. I see. Okay. Before we do that, then, do we have a motion to add the executive session to this agenda? Okay. Yes, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay. So motion and seconded. All those in favor of adding the executive session to the new business or to the agenda, please indicate by raising your hand. In person, we have 5 votes, and then 8 on Zoom. Okay. With that, the motion passes. We will go ahead and add that to the, oh, no, sorry. Well, I guess that already passes. Do I ask for nays? Accuracy. Okay, are those, all right, those against, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, and then those that wish to abstain from the vote, please indicate. Okay. With that, the motion passes. I will go ahead and add the executive session to the new business. Okay. Okay, now that that has been made to the agenda, um, we will need a motion to approve the agenda as it stands. Motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a second? Okay, motion and seconded. Those in favor of approving the agenda, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay. All right. Those against, please indicate. Okay. And then those that wish to abstain from the vote, please indicate. Okay, thank you. With that, the agenda is approved, and we will go ahead and move on to the approval of the minutes. I will note this is, we have a little bit of a backlog. We don't have one from the previous meeting, but the one before that, so from October 30th. So we will need a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting. Okay, motion to approve the minutes. Second, if any. Okay, motion and seconded. Those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, thank you. You may lower your hands. Those against approval of the minutes, please indicate. And then those that wish to abstain, please indicate. Okay, thank you. The minutes have been approved, and please bear with me as we get caught up on the backlog with the minutes from the previous meeting and then the minutes from this one for our next forum. We will go ahead and move on to public comment from GSA general membership, if there is any. And it seems there's not. Are there any public people on the Zoom that would wish to make public comment? Okay. With that, we will go ahead and move on. We can move on to the next section, which is funding. Do we have any updates there?
Oh, the discretionary funding application has reopened for winter quarter. We're working on a social media post to have on our Instagram, but it's the same link from fall quarter if you go back to that previous post on the GSA Instagram. So reminder, you can apply for that. Even your councils can apply for that as well. You just have to be a sole registered organization, which most of you are. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our funding director. Their email is on the application. All right.
Thank you, Naomi. Okay, so now with that, we will go ahead and move on to special presentations. We will first begin with Safe Place for Youth. I believe they're participating over Zoom. Are they ready? Okay. Um, yes, if we can have Miguel promoted to panelist, and then we can take things from there.
Hello. I'm gonna share my screen. Just give me a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. I will stop sharing mine for the time being.
Okay. I'm not sure why it's not letting me share my screen. This is the same issue that we kind of had last time. Is there any way I could send it to somebody's email?
Okay, we're going to attempt to make you a co-host and see if that works. If not, then I can provide my email.
Okay.
Yeah, try now.
Yes, it's still not letting me.
Okay. Um, then here, I'm going to provide my email. That's in the chat. You should see that, and you can send an email there, and I will go ahead and get the slideshow up and running.
Okay. Give me a second, please. Alrighty, I just shared it as a Google Doc link. Just sent it right now.
Okay. Yes, I have received it. I'm going to go ahead and open it.
And then I also have my colleague here, Elise Moya. She's mentioning that she hasn't been able to get access to speaking as well.
Oh, I see. So she will need to be promoted to panelist. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's just been promoted. So I will go ahead and
Great.
share my
I
screen.
am on.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. And we've got a slideshow.
So,
Oh,
is
oh
everybody
wait.
ready?
I'm so sorry. That is not the right one. I am so sorry.
Oh, okay. Not a problem.
Ah,
You're gonna send him the other one?
yes.
Okay, I will stop sharing.
Okay. Alrighty. Shared the correct one. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay, it's just been received. I'll go ahead and yes, okay. With a white background? correct?
Yes.
Okay, I will go ahead and share my screen again. Let's make this a slideshow.
So, hi everybody. We are from Safe Place for Youth, SPY. We are the YCES team, so we're the Youth Coordinated Entry System team. We help with helping with the more sensitive needs for people that are experiencing homelessness, such as students, former foster youth, former probation youth, or the people that normally need extra support, especially if they're like going to school, they wouldn't be normally, ready to finish school, or they would drop out of school without extra support. So that's what our team does and is. If you can change it to the next slide. So for the SPA 5, that is the area, the service provider area that we're in is West LA, so SPA 5, and we are the system lead for the youth. So that's why we're in the middle. For adults, the lead is St. Joseph Center. Currently, their access center has been closed for temporarily due to funding, but they are still taking, I think, virtual referrals. Um, and then for the family lead, it's also St. Joseph Center. They have the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. It's the FCE, I believe. Um, and then, yeah, next slide. So how this YCES team receives referrals. So DCFS probation program receives referrals by outreach, access centers, and referred by the DCFS or probation offices, as well as the new DCFS portal. And that is available through the LASA.org website. The Campus Peer Navigator is referred from internal SPY programs, community partners such as yourselves, um, community colleges as well, universities, trade vocational schools. Our youth must be interested in attending higher education facility. If they're not already enrolled, they need to be interested in being enrolled in school in order to receive services from the Campus Peer Navigator. In other words, is what it was saying. So yeah, that's how that entry is. The initial assessment. So once you get your referral, you'd be sent to either me or him. We would do the initial assessment where we would do a problem-solving tracking tool. We assess where you're at and see what would be the most appropriate next step for you. We could do that by doing the next step tool and entering your information into the HMIS database and by doing case conferencing with each other. And then from there, you would either get a referral to housing, you can get a referral to our employment and education department, or to our clinical department for health and behavioral services. Or also, if you're assessed and you seem like you would be a good fit, you could also get referred to permanent supportive housing. There's also these other programs that you can access if you qualify and if they happen to be open at the time, and those would be the family reunification services, shared housing, transitional housing programs, rapid rehousing, Section 8 vouchers, and non-time limited supportive housing. So there's the TLS programs. And I think that's all for my slides.
Alrighty. Thank you, Elise. So my name is Miguel. Hi, everyone. My role is the Campus Peer Navigator. So we're gonna go over that. So what does the Campus Peer Navigator do? I provide peer support to individuals that may be looking for resources or, individuals that may be experiencing homelessness. So I provide peer support. I act as a mobile access center in order to provide services or supportive services or resources for fellow students. The cool thing about my role is that, yes, we do work with youth, which is ages 18 to 24. Once they reach 25, they are considered, they're at the brink of aging out. But the cool thing about my position is that as long as our members are enrolled into school or looking forward to getting into school, they are still able to receive resources. So they would be not directly through us, but I would be able to offer adult resources. Um, so My as a campus peer navigator, I am also located on campuses. As of right now, I work with Santa Monica Community College. I work with LMU and West LA and also UCLA, of course. I'm glad that we've been working with UCLA for the last possibly like 6, 7 months, I'd want to say. I'm also able to connect students to resources on and off campuses. These resources could be linked to housing, food, financial aid, mental health services, and transportation. I'm also able to make referrals to community organizations and campus departments if needed. Um, we also work as with closely with outreach. We conduct outreach to students who may benefit from support, especially those that are former foster youth experiencing homelessness or housing instability, system impacted or otherwise underserved. And we also host and participate events, workshops, and tabling to raise awareness. Can we go to the next slide, please? CPN also supports in assisting with basic needs navigation. So a lot of the time, I was initially a college student at some point, and I know how scary it can be to, arrive to a big campus and not know where anything is at. So I am an individual that could, go ahead and assist students, especially those first year students that are coming into a college to just go ahead and redirect them in the direction of their wherever it is that they're looking for. I could also be an advocate for students because sometimes, like I said, students don't are really unfamiliar with like just simply like school, just in, overall. I'm also able to help them with documentation, and we follow up with them at least, I'd say, bi-weekly, if not at least once a month, especially those that I work closely with. We follow up with students to check in on progress and offer ongoing support. Can we go to the next slide, please? Oh, and as of recently, within the last, it's going to be a year actually, we have moved from one access center to another, which they're both still located in Venice. But the new access center that we have had for about a year now actually has a lot more to provide to those in need. We have showers, we have laundry, we have a laundry room. Youth can come in to wash and dry if needed. They can come in to just hang out, grab food. We also offer case management, problem solving, family reunification, healing arts, education and employment, pregnant and parenting, clinical, housing, referrals, community resources. We also offer meals, like I said, hygiene products. We have free internet connection, restrooms, clothing, mail services, community building activities, and workshops. We also have Venice Family Clinic, who comes at least once a week to go and conduct any testing that youth may need. We also offer pet supplies, HIV testing, harm reduction kits, sleeping bags, and tents as well if needed. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. And that actually conducts the presentation, but here are all of our information. This is Elise's information, that my fellow colleague, she's the DCFS liaison. There goes my information, and then there goes the senior manager's information. I'm sorry. Feel free to screenshot this if anyone is looking for resources. I could go ahead and provide that through via email if needed, especially those that may be needing adult services. So yeah.
Does, does anybody have any questions?
If not, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all these wonderful resources. For all those that are attending as delegates in GSA Forum, I will add this to the agenda as a link, so you can always refer to that as needed. And or I'll make a copy of it'll in some way it will be accessible to you. So please share this with your various organizations within your council. I'm sure that there will be plenty of students that will be needing and can benefit from these resources. And thank you to Elise and Miguel for presenting today.
Thank you. Everyone have a nice day.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys next time.
All right. So now with that presentation, we will go ahead and move on to the next presentation, which is the Graduate Writing Council Oversight Committee. That will be provided by Marilyn Gray. If they're present. Okay, yes. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I know that the document is linked, so let's see. Q&A. All right. Okay, great. Okay. So then, yes, I would recommend just reviewing the document that I've linked in the agenda, and we will just go ahead and move on to the next section. Naomi, I'll let you take over.
Okay, so the next section on here is appointments. We've had a few appointments since our last meeting back in fall quarter. So I just want to be able to approve those most recent appointments. So we just need a motion in order to do that from one of you all. We have a motion.
Yes, motion to approve the appointments. Do we have a second? Motion and seconded. All those in favor of approving the appointments as listed, please indicate. Great, thank you. You may lower your hands. Those against the appointments listed, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, and those that wish to abstain. Okay, thank you. With that, the appointments are approved, and we'll go ahead and move on to the officer reports. We have some from the administrative representatives. Yes, yeah. So I received an email from Mike Cohn from Seoul. I will just relay the information that he had sent to me. So if you'll permit me a moment. Okay. All right. So three things he wanted me to mention on his behalf. The first thing is winter quarter registration for organizations is now open at the Seoul website at seoul.ucla.edu. Graduate organizations will have until 5 p.m. on January 16th to begin the registration process. The second thing he wanted me to relay was if the forum, as you as delegates are planning the possibility of wanting to place referenda on the spring quarter election ballot, please have someone speak to Mike as soon as possible. There are very specific guidelines that will need to be followed for that. As for the third and final information point that he wanted me to relay, Seoul will be presenting a graduate student organization / leadership workshop on Zoom on the 22nd of January from 5 to 6 p.m. And this will be virtual. This workshop will feature presentations by the UCLA Graduate Student Association and the UCLA Graduate Resource Center, and will provide organizations with guidance and inform clubs of resources for graduate student activities and programming. And there's a link that I will include and for registering, and I can forward that to you guys accordingly. So that's the information I need to relay from Mike. Do we have other administrative updates?
Sorry, that's really loud. Welcome back, everybody. So first, just want to give a couple updates on behalf of SGA. So we are awaiting enrollment numbers from campus so that we can proceed with doing your apportionment for the year. So my goal is to have it done and bring it to you all week 3 so you can vote to approve it and have some additional funds be available for your council budgets. So that is coming shortly. We are still in audit, but we are nearing the end of it. So hopefully soon I'll have more updates on when you all can expect to see carryover coming forward. Aside from that, I did want to go over more in a little bit more detail some of the referendum guidelines that have changed this year, just so that you all are aware. And in the event that any grad students are interested in running referendum this year, so we put together a more formal timeline so that the referendum language can meet all the necessary approvals to be able to appear on a ballot in the spring election. And this was done in partnership with UCOP wanting to formalize a process for all UC campuses. So UCLA, Student Affairs, and ASUCLA, your admin representatives, we all got together and put this timeline together to be proactive in that sense. So the main things to know there's 2 ways to get a referendum on the ballot, either by a petition of the student body or bringing it to forum for forum to vote to approve it to go on your ballot in the spring. So once these guidelines are finalized, we'll make sure that we get them posted on your GSA website as well so that everybody has access to them. But the process begins week 2. So as early as week 2, students can come forward with referendum that they're interested in running. If it's by a petition, it will go through your election board chair. And then if it's being brought to forum to approve on your ballot, then that review timeline, so about 5 business days for ASUCLA and academic planning and budget to review. And that is mainly so that we are able to see your draft language, see the fee amount, and also have it on our radar as any student referendum fee that GSA would end up approving would flow through student government accounting to process. So we do need to be looped in early. We would review the draft language and give feedback. It has to make sure that it has the appropriate criteria for the appropriate language, the return to aid component, CPI adjustment, and inclusion of summer session assessment as applicable. From there, it will go to the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs for approval. And that process is also, we're giving a 5 business day turnaround time. And that is to make sure that he has ample amount of time to review the language and give any feedback. So the petition process, essentially what that means is a student would come forward to the election board and say that they want to run a referendum by petition, and then they would need to go out and collect signatures of the student body to get it approved to go on the ballot. So there is a formal process, and that form needs to be conducted through the election board. So they will need ample amount of time to collect the signatures, and then those signatures would be due by week 7 so that Student Affairs has time to validate that those are all currently enrolled graduate student signatures. From there, once all the campus approvals happen, we'll be submitting to UCOP by week 9, and that is, so that would be the final version of the referendum language and the fee amount. And that process of approval is usually iterative, so they will come back with feedback. If there's any changes that they're recommending to make, we would need to make those before it goes to ballot. So those are due by week 9 to UCOP so that we have week 10 finals and spring break to be able to turn that around. That's the main part of it. There's some other detailed info in this document, but again, like once it's finalized, we'll get it on your website, and I'll also make sure I send Jay a copy so he can circulate to forum so you all can look at this in more detail. And if you have any questions, or if you're thinking, any councils are thinking, or any students are thinking of possibly running a referendum this year, please feel free to reach out. Happy to meet. Myself, Mike, Pamela, any of us are happy to meet and just go over some preliminary language, give you advisement on certain components that are necessary to have in the language, and then help you navigate that process from there. And then we'll also be looking forward to, once your election board chair is appointed, also making sure that they're well versed in this process so they can help with that petition piece. They are appointed. Okay, amazing. So we'll make sure we connect with them and make sure that they're aware of these updates. And these will be hard deadlines because unfortunately if the language is not approved by the Vice Chancellor's office and the Chancellor, and UCOP, then it can't go on your ballot. So the ultimate final approval piece is it does end up being from the Chancellor once UCOP has vetted it. But if it doesn't meet all those thresholds, it can't go to ballot. So that's just something to keep in mind, and why we have to have specific deadlines for everything so that we don't try to rush things through last minute and miss that window. So if there's any questions, let me know. But like I said, we'll make sure we circulate this as soon as we have that final document.
Okay, thank you. Other administrative updates? Okay.
One more quick thing. Requisition deadline for fall quarter is tomorrow. So make sure if you have any outstanding invoices or reimbursements from fall quarter activities, please submit it through Cognito Forms by tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I have just been notified that Marilyn Gray, who is to present on the Graduate Writing Council Oversight Committee, has arrived in the meeting. So if there are no objections, I'd like to give her the time to present, given that there were some technical issues with her arriving at this meeting. Okay. Has Marilyn been, okay, promoted?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, lovely. I can go ahead and just open this link. Unless you have other documents for presenting, I would just ask that the presentation time be limited to between 5 and 10 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, so I just wanted to, having consulted with Satara, wanted to reach out to Forum to talk about the Oversight Committee for the Graduate Writing Center. Basically, this committee was kind of came with the referendum that was passed by GSA many years ago to fund the Graduate Writing Center, and it gives every council the opportunity to appoint somebody to be on the Oversight Committee. This committee is overseen by the Vice President of Academic Affairs or whoever they designate to kind of be the chair of the committee. And this committee hasn't met every year. Just as a kind of a footnote for those of you, if you're like updating the codes, this document that we're looking at right now is actually at the bottom of the codes document that you linked in today's meeting, but I think it's not really cross-referenced with maybe the list of VPAA duties. So maybe it's something that could be mentioned elsewhere in the codes so that like when people are coming into GSA as an officer or whatever, they can just make sure they have all of the documents that are relevant. But yeah, so the Oversight Committee has met some years and not all years. And that just has to do with the fluctuation of what GSA looks at in a year and what they're involved with or what they focus on. But I would like to request that the Oversight Committee be convened, and preferably as soon as possible, because my supervisor, I report to Frank Wada, the Assistant Vice Chancellor in Student Affairs for Academic Partnerships, and we're doing strategic planning this year. So it's very much appropriate for the Oversight Committee to have a meeting or two to weigh in on behalf of your different councils and schools and everything to weigh in on what you would like from the Graduate Writing Center moving forward, because, you know, there's a lot going on in general in higher education, but we have done them before, the like strategic planning process. We have had meetings, like the Graduate Student Resource Center also has an oversight committee that has representation from GSA. So basically, it's nice for this committee to be convened, and to have representation from across campus and just take the opportunity to weigh in on what people would like from the Graduate Writing Center in terms of services and programs and really anything. So I I don't know what is a feasible timeline. Basically, the way the committee representation works, the vice president, so all of the councils would appoint a person to be on the committee, or if we just want to do a couple of meetings this year just for the strategic planning, then maybe a forum representative could also be the representative on this committee. But it would be great if people could appoint somebody maybe in the next couple of weeks, maybe by the next forum, and then we could schedule like one or two meetings to do the strategic planning process and exercises that we're doing just to evaluate, you know, where we're going. So I don't want to spend too much time on the nitty-gritty of the charter, but if we convene the committee, we'll send the charter to anyone coming to it. Also, there are non-student members that are ex officio, meaning they are not voting. And I usually play the coordination role to try to reach out to those entities to get those representatives. And that's kind of how the committee has worked in the past, because it's really, you know, the prerogative of the councils to appoint their own student representatives, and then kind of coordinated and organized by the vice president of academic affairs. And then I play the role of, like I said, bringing in some of like stakeholder relevant staff at UCLA who kind of participate in the conversation. But I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I guess please let me know if anything is not entirely clear, or if you have any questions about my specific request.
If people have questions, how would it be best to contact you?
I can, well, you can give out my email for sure. But I guess the follow-up would be to try to, if every council could try to appoint someone, or if a forum representative would be willing to represent their council at least for one or two meetings. Basically, I think the quickest thing to do would be to contact maybe both me and Satara at the same time and just say, this is the person for this council who will participate at least for one or two meetings for strategic planning.
Okay, thank you. Are there other questions from those present at forum? Okay. Well, thank you, Marilyn, for taking the time to talk with us about this oversight committee. And to those that are present, I hope you guys are able to find representatives from each of your councils to help with this strategic planning process. Thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, so we'll now return to the officer reports, and Naomi will share her screen. Is that what you were intending?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Coolios. All right. So, hi, folks. Hi, everybody. Before I get started with my officer report, I do just want to say that I want to recognize that there is a lot going on in the world and just the political climate right now, amongst just in across the United States and outside of the United States, right? So, if you are affected, and if there's any way that I can support you, please let me know, and I'm happy to make time. Just if you just want to talk, if you want to get coffee, anything really. Um, But as for updates since our last meeting and going back to fall quarter, we did have a couple things that we ended up doing after our last forum meeting, most of which was just a couple of different events. We had one with the Bruin Parenting Scholar. We had to shift gears for another event that we had, which is going to be rescheduled for winter quarter, which is going to be a transit trip. Basically, we're going to use our U passes to go down to Santa Monica. We're just rescheduling it for towards the end of January. And then a lot of my time towards the end of fall quarter went towards planning our first leadership academy for graduate students. So I've been working with student affairs on that. We've had leadership academies in the past, mainly for only undergraduates, and I've asked why not grad students? So we had over 100 applicants for grad students this time around. It's going to be at the end of January. Only 50 people can go, so we had to look at those applications. And so only 50 people can go, but I'm really excited for it. As a leader, it's really important for me to also bring other leaders and build them up and whatever skills we can give them. So I'll be really excited to report back on that. Besides that, more meetings, as you know. We'll be talking about the Olympics, planning meetings for those. And then besides that, starting week one, we've kind of been back into the midst of planning our events. So we're getting ready for the Winter Grad Bar, which will be near Valentine's Day. We've been working on an initiative with Brew and Fresh. They'll also have a resolution that will be presented later today at this council meeting. And then we've had a lot of meetings about housing and the messaging, which we'll talk about in executive session. As we were talking about various needs for representatives from our graduate student councils, I also do need 2 representatives for the Faculty Mentoring Award selection. Basically, that's an award that folks can basically be nominated for or students can apply for. But we definitely need, they asked specifically for one person, one graduate student from North Campus and one from South Campus, and myself to help review those applications. So if you are interested in that, they mentioned that there was a little bit over 50 last year that they had to review, which I know takes time, but it's kind of the one ask that they have from me. So if you are interested in helping me review those mentor awards, I think it'd be really cool. They invite you to a nice dinner. That's what I can give you. After we review those applications, just let me know. You can send me a message or an email. And I'm trying to get those relatively soon. But yeah, that's a little bit about that from me. And then we will go into the next report.
Thank you, Naomi. I also, in the same vein, would like to acknowledge that a lot is happening in the world, domestically and abroad. As a personal note, a significant portion of my family hails from Venezuela, which has been recently affected by the raid on Caracas, and the Venezuelans, both in Venezuela and abroad, and the diaspora populations, myself being included in that, have had many feelings about the situation that's been unfolding. And I understand that there are also other underserved and targeted populations, both in the States and abroad. And so if should you feel like you need someone to talk to, I can empathize with those of you that may feel affected. And so I wanted to, there's no perfect time to say it, but I felt that it needed to be said. And with that, I'll go ahead and briefly just go over my report. It's going to look very similar to what I had at the very beginning of fall quarter. So as you may recall, I submitted some code changes or changes to the GSA codes, and those had been worked on over the summer. And they were also provided for you all to review in the previous quarter. And so we will be voting on that in when we address the old business, because we didn't have time to address it in the previous meeting. So you can refer to here, this is fall. Yeah, you can refer to the winter 2026, just has a summary of those proposed revisions. And I know that there's going to be a second round that will be proposed based on recommendations made by the external consultants' recommendations for ensuring consistency between the codes and the Constitution. Do we have any updates on that by chance? Okay, great. So yeah, we just be on the lookout for that shortly, and that will be more logistics and sort of consistency related language just to ensure that we're not having conflicting documents within our forum and within GSA in general. And yeah, with that, I don't have anything else to report. I'm just looking. I'm in the interview process for a new director of internal affairs. So if you happen to know people that might be interested in that position, please send them my way. I hope to have that concluded by next week. So with that, I'll go ahead and conclude my report. We will go ahead and move on to Satara. Would you like me to just pull up the link, or do you want to share your screen?
Oh, you can just share.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and open that up real quick.
Oh, if you click the winter, like
Oh, winter. Yes. Okay, great.
Okay, hi everyone. So just have a quick update. So first off, me and Jack, who's the EVP, will be collaborating with GSRC this quarter and next quarter as well to plan a study jam. So there's a midterm date and a finals date as well, which are listed here. And then also just kind of echoing what Marilyn said earlier about the Graduate Writing Center Oversight Committee. So if each council could select one person to be part of this committee, please delegates reach out to your council and let them know about this. And if you have a name, please email that to me over the next 2 weeks, because like Marilyn mentioned, we do want to start meeting sometime this quarter. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Satara. We'll go ahead and move on to Jack's report. Would you like me to pull up the link as well?
I can screen share.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and
Thank
share your
you.
screen then.
Let me do that. Okay, awesome. Hi everyone, Happy New Year. I also want to quickly just echo what Jay and Naomi said early, acknowledging the broader environment and climate that we're in. This week also marked the 1 year anniversary of the LA wildfires. I know a lot of students that were directly and indirectly impacted, and many of us are still carrying that weight of displacement and impacts from that. But I just want y'all to know that there are resources and people here on campus that you to reach out to if you need any additional support, and let me know how I can best support you. I want to quickly acknowledge, the yesterday morning, the killing of ICE agent in Minneapolis. I know that caused a lot of trauma and horror among our immigrant students, including myself. And I want you to know that I condemn such actions in the strongest term possible, and also remain committed to utilizing every avenue and platform available to protect our most vulnerable students. So I just want to quickly mention that. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly dive into my report. These are the updates since last time we were together on November 13th. So 2 resolutions have been I co-sponsored. One of them will be presented later. Also attended the UCGPC Basic Needs Committee meeting, receiving a lot of updates from the system-wide campuses on the basic needs. And in November, there was also Regents meeting. So I attended the preparation meeting to participate in the Regents meeting. And on November 14, Naomi and we attended the monthly meeting with the Chancellor and the USEC President and EVP to talk about these issues. And on November 17, I met with UCLA Local Government Relations Director to talk about strategies to continue to engage with elected official for winter and spring EVP events. So at a Regents meeting, I was a selected UCGBC star. That gave me the privileged backstage access to directly make dialogues with the Regents and the UCOP personnel. I raised these needs for our immigration protection at the Regents meeting, and at the UCGBC, because I also chaired that committee for immigrant undocumented international student protection. So we talk about the system-wide campus situations at different campuses among this key student population, and also UCOP guidance on SB 98 compliance. Also talk about the undocumented students hiring policy, as well as the federal anticipated rule to eliminate OPT for international students. As EVP, I also, continue to engage with UC, UCOP, FGR, Federal Government Relations Team. Like, so we receive a lot of updates from them in terms of the congressional and the Trump administration, and at the UCGPC side, there will be DC advocacy opportunity coming up. Save the date, April 20 to 23rd. So it will be well publicized and promoted through GSA newsletter, etc. So look out for those dates and let me know if you want to participate in the advocacy opportunities. And also recently was appointed by Naomi to serve on the University LGBTQ plus Affairs Committee to attend those monthly meetings. And yes, so in November, Satara and I, we hosted the event. It was good. We had 15 students attended. We provide snacks and coffee. We're gonna continue to make that a quarterly tradition for final week and midterm. So as Satara just said early. So, and on November 20, I also, represented GSA at the Transgender Day of Remembrance Vigil hosted by the LA LGBT Center. And also spoke to LA Times, elevated student opposition to the president lawsuit challenging California institution and financial aid for undocumented students, and highlighted the continued need for system-wide protection for our immigrant students. And right after that, no, on the same day, I collaborated with another student group called UCLA Med Coalition. They do a lot of advocacy work in global and humanitarian health. I would serve as a keynote speaker to talk about my work in public health and medicine and GSA advocacy work. And yeah, I also attended the fall ASUC entity committee meeting. So at UCGBC side, I conducted UCLA candidate interviews for student advocate position, a position that I had been promoting through GSA. And now we have a UCLA grad students who are going to do this social media campaign to highlight, the UCLA research as part of the Stand Up for UC campaign, which is very exciting. And I have a biweekly meeting with a SO director to talk about my current priorities, initiatives, and strategies. And I also spoke to political to kind of like briefly share about the UCLA and the UC current campus climate. And on November 26th, I met with UCLA PHSA, Public Health Student Association, EVPs who are the delegates here, to a collaborative initiative to oppose anticipated federal rule that would remove public health graduate programs from professional degree classification. I know, like, for that rulemaking, there's a list of degrees that is not only public health degrees, there's also includes social welfare, nursing, etc. So I'm gonna, reach out to respective school delegates to see if anyone would be interested collaborating on letters of opposition to the Secretary of Education on that proposed federal rulemaking. And I also met with Ashley from the federal relations team at UCLA to talk about, the federal level engagement with the elected officials as well. I mentioned about the study jam event, and I also attended the GSA co-sponsored study break event hosted by Outfielding in honor of the World AIDS Day, and in the December biweekly meeting with UCGPC and the FGR, we receive congressional updates, as well as to talk about the current impacts on MSI and a potential HACU opportunity as well. Yeah, so there were more meetings. Yeah, one thing I want to quickly mention is the Broom Fresh, which is on the agenda to be discussed later. So I attended the fundraising and referendum committee, which is one of the 4 primary pillars of the funding structure for that. Happy to discuss that later. Also, system-wide student advisory group for system-wide surveys. So this meeting, we mainly talk about the student feedback for UC Information Center utility and impacts among our students. They're the ones who are making those very beautiful, statistics and charts about like enrollment data, statistics, etc. Yeah, so, and on December 4th, I expanded outreach through Instagram to promote a reporting channel for alleged misconduct by federal agents to the California Attorney General. as well as attended the GSRC Division Graduate Education Social event with Naomi there. And in December, we had that meeting with Chancellor and AVC of Campus Life. We talked about all these issues directly impacting our grad students. From transportation to community building, as well as SB 98 campus-wise planning as well. And I met with Vanessa, the director of LGBTQ plus Campus Resource Center director, talk about the campus climate and intersectional needs among our students in that space. And as you know, EVP of GSA, I attended the mayor inauguration in Culver City, continue to cultivate partnership, elevating the regional interest of our students who live in Culver City. And on December 9th, I joined the press conference hosted by Assembly member and LA County supervisors on behalf of GSA, calling for the urgent need to reinstate LGBTQ plus crisis support through local and state pathways. And yeah, also volunteered at the CPO Winter Holiday Food Box giveaway distribution. It was awesome. And also attended the Opportunity for All campaign retreat on behalf of UC-GPC and UCLA GSA. That's one of the key undocumented student protection initiative that I've been working on related to on-campus employment opportunities. And the UCGBC board meeting also happened in December, and there's an event coming up, Save the Day UC Graduate Summit. We have an incredible speaker lined up talking about the work in different areas that impact higher education, from basic needs to immigration to research funding, all of that. And it's fully virtual. And there will be more information to be publicized later. And yeah, so what else? We also talk about UC divestment practices as well as the other administrative policies related to UCGBC. Yeah, and another event coming up, Save the Day. So It's On Us is a leading national organization combating sexual assault and violence on college campuses, and they have this annual Partners in Prevention Summit. And this year they wanted to do at UCLA. So I'm one of the co-sponsors for the event, and it will be here on campus, and there will be there will be amazing workshop, certification opportunities through the summit. So save the date. Another biweekly meeting with FGR at UCOP. With those updates, and yeah, monthly meeting on LGBTQ Affairs Committee. And yeah, regarding the undocumented student protection in terms of the Trump administration lawsuit against California, including UC here, for their in-state tuition policy benefits, I supported this joint statement. So I met with UCLA SGR team, State Government Relations team, to talk about strategies on SB 607, authored by the State Senator Scott Wiener, who's now running for Congress, in San Francisco before November. But there will be opportunities engaging that legislation. So it will have a huge impact if being passed and enacted in terms of the funding support here at UCLA and across UC system. I met with AVC, campus community safety, to talk about SB 98 campus implementation and town hall planning. Very important stuff coming up, and as well as I set a meeting with LA Mayor's Immigrant Affairs Office to talk about collaborative strategy and the opportunities that our student lived experiences to advance oversight efforts of ICE misconducts. And one federal rulemaking that in this space, in terms of the immigration protection, is the proposed rulemaking on public charge grant in admissibility. I led the UCGBC letter opposition addressed to the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. And yeah, so volunteer with Naomi at the December LA Mayor Karen Bass South LA holiday food distribution event. It was a huge success. And last night I attended the Northwestwood Neighborhood Council Board meeting representing GSA. Yeah, two more things before I close out. So I'm hosting a teaching event next Thursday, to talk about how to best engage with UC Regents because of the upcoming UC Regents meeting in January at UCLA. And that the teaching workshop will provide food and beverages. Really really hoping to connect students with resources and strategies to engage with regions on a lot of issues that impacting our students. So that's all for now. If you don't have any questions, we can move on to the next item.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we've concluded the officer reports. We will go ahead and move on to old business. First, we will go ahead and vote on the GSA code changes. So this has been present in the last agenda as well as this one. So this should have given you ample time to review that. I will briefly just summarize the sections that were modified or added, just so everyone has that fresh in their mind, and then we can have a motion to vote and move forward from there. So, yeah, so the first section 1.2 was just minor errors, just visual like indentation. And then section 2.1, it just introduces the student board as an entity that exists within GSA and the GSA forum. Section 2.2 adds language that describes more of defines a procedure for the forum to amend the GSA codes because that had not been well defined previously. Section 2.3 was just a misnumbering thing, but then also adding language for clarifying sort of the requirements for each council to be considered in full attendance. And then section 2.4 it defines the process for dissolving or reallocating councils when or if they become inactive, as that has not been defined previously. Section 2.5 was also added to define the process for creating new councils, should that be deemed necessary by the forum. And then section 3.3, fixing indentation, of course, but adding language that outlines the procedures for submitting agenda items for consideration within the GSA forum. Section 3.4 changes the language outlining the frequency of the GSA forum meetings, and then there will also be changes made to the Constitution, but that will require more logistics to be addressed later. And then section 3.5 will add language that defines the scope of groups that can qualify for the Student Interest Board, and then outlines procedures for adding new member orgs to that Student Interest Board as well. And then the last modification made was section 6.11, which is adding language for certifying election results within the forum, and then consequences for councils failing to be present for result certification, as that was an issue that we had last election cycle. We just didn't have enough people to make quorum, and so this provides incentive against failing to be present for that certification. So with that summary, also with the time that was given for reviewing these code changes, is there a motion to vote on these changes? All right, motion, and do we have a second? Motioned and seconded. All right. All those in favor of approving the GSA code changes as presented, please indicate by raising your hand. All right, it looks like we have a few more coming up on Zoom, I think. We're good. All right, please lower your hands. All those against approving the changes as presented, please indicate. Okay, and then those that wish to abstain, please indicate as well. Okay, with that, the GSA code changes are approved. As a reminder, there will be a second round, and that will just be for more consistency's sake between multiple documents. So please be on the lookout for that. With that, we will go ahead and get that. I think there's some stuff I have to fill out on that form. Okay. Okay, perfect. Sounds great. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to the Brewing Fresh resolution. This was brought to the agenda by the student regent, Sonia Brooks, last forum meeting, but we were unable to address. I know Jack is a co-sponsor. If you could provide a very, very brief summary. I know Sonia very briefly talked about it as well, so just a couple minutes and then we can move forward with that.
Yes. Thank you, Jay. So yeah, I'm here to speak on behalf of Sonia on this resolution. So Broom Fresh, similar to CalFresh, is to address food insecurity on our campus, particularly among our grad students who are not eligible for CalFresh. And the resolution I think is very straightforward. In terms of potentially eligible students. The categories would include international students, also permanent residents, non-American citizens, as well. Yeah, those who are not eligible for CalFresh. And so if you look at the page 2, like go down, who's controlling the screen? Yeah, so the way like how it works, in terms of like identification of eligibility, outreach, determination of stipend allocation, and creation and distribution of aid and maintenance of aid, I think it's also very straightforward. I think we are trying to do it in a way that protects our student rights to privacy, especially among our most vulnerable students, especially during this current federal climate. That's why the eligible students will be identified through the UCL Economic Crisis Response Team via their financial aid information, and they will work with the students to determine the amount of money that should be allocated to support their the food insecurity needs, right? So where's the money coming from? So the next, paragraph, whereas here it says, there are 4 primary pillars. We are going to ask money. First, we're going to ask money from UC Regents. That's why Sonia is going to present it later this month. Very exciting stuff. But also, we want to make it like more sustainable. So we're going to run referendum through GSA. But also, we're going to keep fundraising, right? Like, we want to do a basic needs gala, also utilizing existing networks within the alumni association. To making sure that can run sustainably. And so this is the resolution. So let me know if you have any questions that I'm able to address.
I do have a quick question. So if this resolution passes, this will become a referenda?
No,
okay.
no, yeah. So to become a referendum, as Jessica earlier mentioned, there are 2 ways to do it, right? Someone can bring a resolution here to be voted. That will have to be a formal process. But this is, yeah. So this is, I think, it's more symbolic and really in terms of urging for the support.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Do we have additional questions from those present at forum? Okay. Well, if not, do we have a motion to vote on this resolution and approve it? All right, motioned. And do we have a second? Okay, motioned and seconded. All those in favor of approving the Brew and Fresh resolution, please indicate. Okay, thank you. Please lower your hands. All those that are against approving this resolution, please indicate. All right, and then all those that wish to abstain. Okay, with that, the resolution passes. So now we will go ahead and move on to new business. As indicated on the agenda, this was an executive session, so we will need a motion to enter into executive session. It will, yes, Naomi said she'll be brief. Okay. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, motion and seconded. Those in favor of entering executive session, please indicate. Okay, still waiting on some hands from Zoom. Great. All right, please lower your hands. And then those that are against entering executive session, please indicate. All right, and then those that wish to abstain. Okay. All right, with that, we will go ahead and enter executive session. So as a reminder, those that are part of the public and not part of the voting body or ex officio members will need to step out of the room. The recording will also be stopped. And then those that are on Zoom that are not panelists will have to be removed, right? Yeah, so if you are a voting member in the forum, if you are part of like a council representative, then you should be a panelist. If you're not a panelist, you will be removed from the meeting. So do we have, there's one person? Is this? Okay, great. So, all right, perfect. Yes. So, yes. So once we have the room cleared out, we will go ahead and enter into executive session. And we'll take things from there. Okay. Do we have anyone present on the Zoom that should not be? Okay, great. Room is being locked. The recording will be paused and we will enter into executive session. Oh, that's the screen share, my apologies. Now we will enter into executive session. With that, we have exited executive session. Now that concludes all the agenda items that we have for today. Do we have a motion for adjournment? Okay, motion to adjourn. The second. Okay, second. Motion and seconded. Those in favor of adjourning, please indicate. All right, those against. All right, and then those that wish to abstain. Okay, with that, the motion passes and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for today, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.